interview is being conducted for the Veterans History Project for the Library of Congress. His name is Colonel Ben Skardon. Birthday is
14 July.
July 14th, 1917. Served in World War II and the Korean War. Achieved the rank of Colonel. We are recording this on October the 31st of 2012 in Clemson, South Carolina. I am Drew Ricard and I am conducting the interview. No relation. Now, Colonel Skardon, my first question is, you were born and grew up, or you became a part of the Clemson family here in Clemson University. Can you tell me a little bit about growing up?
Well, my father was an Episcopal minister. My mother and father both from New Orleans. My father's, one of his first churches was Grace Church, St. Francisville. We moved from there to Bastrop, Louisiana, and left Bastrop in about 1925 and came to Walterboro, South Carolina, where we grew up, so to speak. I was in the 3rd grade at the time. I'm one of 6 children. We had 1 sister, and there were 5 sons, 5 brothers. I was right in the middle, 2 older and 2 younger. All 5 of us served honorably in World War II, and at one time there were 2 of us who were MIAs. My brother was oldest brother, who was the scholar of our family. He was captured in the Battle of the Bulge in December of 1944. He was a German prisoner for approximately 6 months and was liberated later on. I was captured by the Japanese in April of 1942 at the Fall of Bataan. I was at that time I was a captain, and I was a commander of a Philippine Army company, Company A of the 92nd Infantry Regiment, 91st Division, Philippine Army. I was the only Caucasian in the company. We did have a sergeant, but I think he was later on commissioned, and I was, like I say, but the main thing was the language difficulty. Actually, at that time, I was from the low country of South Carolina, and while I was at Clemson College, they called me Mushmouth because of my low country accent. Well, I was talking to, in the Philippine Army, talking to Filipino officers who were all from the island of Luzon, and they spoke Spanish, Tagalog, which was the national Philippine language, and also some English, a good bit of English. They could understand us. Well, the soldiers, because at this time, just before the war, started in November, December, I was on the island of Samar. I had been sent there as soon as I landed in Manila in October of 41. I was given about 4 days orientation and a bunch of field equipment and sent down to the island of Samar to train and advise Philippine Army units that were being newly inducted. When I got to this assignment, there was another first lieutenant there. At this time, backtracking a little bit, I was a first lieutenant. So he and I, an American sergeant, were the cadre for the training of this Philippine Army battalion. It is hard to describe the overall condition. Some of the soldiers were more comfortable barefooted than wearing these shoes with a split toe, with big toe and the rest of the foot, canvas type sneakers. So, and they had short pants, and they had a pith helmet, and these pith helmets were bright orange shellac And also, they were very proud of those. They loved, if you've ever seen the old fire departments, pictures of the old fire departments, they had the hat that sloped down to the back. Well, that's the way these soldiers were. Now, I was in my heyday. I'm 5'7.5". Average Filipino soldier was about 4'6". So I could look rear back, look over my troops, you see. But a lot of things that I had no idea that I was going to be in the field training. I had visions of girls in grass skirts and nightlife and white uniforms and all that type of thing. And so when I was sent down there, it was the end of the earth, as far as I was concerned. But the Filipinos were so amiable, so warm. You quickly try to adapt so that you could influence them with respect to what you had to say. Now, going back to that communications problem, we got our telex from, remember, at that time, no radios, no telephones. You go to the telegraph office and give them a message and they send it out. Well, we were right outside Cabanatuan, excuse me. I cannot think of the name of the capital of Samar right now. It'll come back to, excuse me, it was Catbalogan. And we'd go in and well, anyway, we got this telex from what they call the Southern Command, which is a bunch of officers and staff down in Mindanao, which is the southernmost island of the archipelago there, the Philippine archipelago. And so we were sent, they say, well, what are your problems? What can we help you with? I mean, they had telex. So we described our communications problem about American officers talking to Tagalog officers who spoke Tagalog to the non-coms, because the troops spoke two dialects. They spoke Wari-Wari, which is H-U-A-R-I dash H-U-A-R-I, on one side of the mountain of one of the islands. The other side spoke the Cebuana. And so we said after the training, well, Lieutenant Colbert and I would get the Philippine officers together and we'd go through, we had these little training manuals, and we teach them sanitation, hygiene, some close order drill, rifle, marksmanship, things like that. So at least we thought we taught them that. So when we sent this telex down telling them our communications problem, those people sent back a message, try Esperanto. Now, that doesn't mean anything to you, except at that time in the world, there was a group in England who wanted to form a international language, and they called it Esperanto. So actually, it's the first esper, I think, is to hope in French. Well, you could hope all you want to and pray all you want to, but nothing was going to change that problem, because we couldn't have language instruction, and we sure as hell, excuse me, I apologize for my intensifiers in the English department. There are certain words, if you use them emphatically, they intensify. So when I say damn right, that means you, boy, don't you forget, that's it. So so we realized we weren't getting any hope there. Now, what I'm talking about is, you could get a Filipino officer up, and if you wanted to speak to the non-com, you told the Filipino officer, look, tell the sergeant, we do something. The sergeant always said, yes, sir, yes, sir, S-I-R-R-A-H. Now, what I'm telling you is, when you're baffled, you don't know what to do. We were baffled because we realized we had no idea what the soldiers were getting. Now, they got a little bit, but you see, in training, you don't ever advance if you don't. Soldiers don't understand what they're supposed to do. We never got to squad tactics or squad formations and things like that. Now, we didn't have time either, because in about December the 6th, we loaded our battalion aboard an inter-island steamer to go from Catbalogan up to up to Manila. And of course, I didn't know where we were going, anything like that. To me, it was all one, and it was peacetime. Well, we get outside of Manila Bay. This Lieutenant Coburn I was telling you about, he was senior to me. And that day and time, data rank meant everything. Everything was, that is as far as who is your boss. Data rank said, told you who it was. Well, don't get me wrong, he was a fine gentleman. Also a reserve officer, but he'd been over there a year. So, but anyway, when the captain sent someone down we were on this deck, and of course segregation was in. We had the whole doggone little better there. Up deck, Chads and a few Filipino families, troops all out of sight down below. I bring that up because I have learned to understand a lot with regard to segregation, a lot. So this man came down and said, Lieutenant, sir, please come to the captain would like to see you up on the bridge. So we went up there, and the captain was obviously nervous, and so he says, the Japanese have bombed Pearl Harbor. Well, we going from peacetime serenity on the blue Pacific, going about those islands, music playing, and here we're at war. Well, the captain said to Lieutenant Coburn, said, what do we do? They will not give me landing instructions. They tell me, stay out where you are. Well, Coburn, we talked just a minute, he get the microphone. He said, this is Lieutenant George Coburn speaking. I have 600 troops aboard an island steamer so-and-so, and I would like to have landing instructions. Or let me speak to General MacArthur. There was silence and some crackling. And then this was, Sir, land your ship immediately at Pier 3. I give that best I can. But I always put that one of the most heroic and finest hour of any man I've ever known. My lexicon of heroes, George Coburn's right there. He defused everything. We got in there, they had school buses, which were old trucks type things, and they had wooden things, but they'd sawed off the top. This was the next day. And so we were in danger of air attack, but we had no idea. We had no idea when they said bomb Pearl Harbor, whether they dropped one bomb or wiped out the fleet. Naturally, when they wiped out the fleet, I never knew till after the war, and sometime after, the full damage at Pearl Harbor. This little added note here, my nephew, who was a Citadel graduate, went to the Navy. He just retired from the Navy, and he was a commander at Pearl Harbor a few years ago. I had the privilege of giving him the 60th anniversary address from aboard the USS Missouri, which had been where General MacArthur had stood, and there's a plaque on the deck of that ship where he stood when he told Hirohito, you know, the countries of all this was violent. He didn't sound like that, but damn, yeah. So, like I said, I get wound up on this, but it's clear as a picture to me. But I like to tell people little things that are very meaningful, and you learn from him. Hey, just take charge and let them know. General MacArthur at that time, when I was a field marshal in the Philippine Army, he had to be, Mr. Roosevelt took care of that, of course. Roy back in as a four-star general, then 5. And so, but over there, everybody, General MacArthur's name and the president's name, Quezon, Manuel Quezon. I don't know another name over there except those two. Now,
that's how the war started for me. We were taken up to a division training camp about 90 miles north of Manila on these school buses. We got up there and there was this low bamboo shack buildings, sturdy now. They know how to put bamboo together, so if the typhoon comes, they have these big shutters, and they'll open up, the air comes right through. None of that frail looking stuff gets turned over. It's amazing to me, because I've sat, 2 years, two seasons when they had a typhoon. We loved it because the rain was low on us. That's great. However, I'm not trying to idealize President Henry, but anyway, we went to this camp at Command for one. Later on, well, from that time, 4 months, 5 months later, I was brought back in there as a prisoner of the Japanese. So I spent 2 more years in the camp that I originally got to as an officer. American Army, commanding Philippine Army troops. And that gets me sometimes. But at that time, none of this type of feeling occurred on. Everything was stand tall, get with it. We're going, and we get the news. Now, you have to remember, we had no borders. We had, say we, I'm talking about the regiment. Because their regiments were a lot lighter than ours. I said I commanded a company. I would say the most men I ever had was 120, whereas normally you have about 240 platoons, weapons platoon and so forth. So it's not that heavy a load from the command standpoint, and the span of command, so to speak, is not near as great. Well, I've been to the infantry school at Fort Benning, been to the officer, and of course we had trained on all the latest American equipment. And the newest rifle out was the Duran rifle. Well, we were allowed to shoot it. That was before the war now. Even from Fort Benning, I went to the Philippines, and then from Manila, you follow me on this, down to Samar, in the ship going back, or get started, we land, we go up to Cabana training camp. We leave from there and go north and up towards Lingayen, which is a big bay, which is an ideal landing place for troops. Ships bring them in. Well, when the Japanese landed up there, we didn't know what was going on. We'd see planes way up, the bombers going over. We had no planes. Now, there was, I remember seeing a P-40 one time. That was 6 weeks later when we were on Bataan. And there are a lot of ramifications with regard to our situation. For example, the loss of all the planes at Clark Field. Now that's a breakdown in what I call the command on all those planes sitting there. They came by the next day. The fighter planes, they shot them up and down, all was sitting there. They could have taken, according to what I read, they should have gotten those things out, moved out right away. But those are B-17s that brand new coming into the States, B-17. Well, now, what I'm telling you, actually, after the fact, I didn't know anything. I didn't know ships. I didn't even know where I was. We never had any map orientation. And, like, the Coleman was great for me because, oh yeah, Command One, that's a big old city right up there in the middle of the island. That's where it was. The camp that we were in, we called it Command One because it was at the city. See, Manila's right down here on the bay. Well, it's a big corregidors, the old rocky island. It doesn't mean to live called an island. Island. Not being contemptuous. Contemptuous. No, that's had to do with my opinion with the allocation of rations and some other things we didn't get. Well, we couldn't very well get it to us. Not affecting where my outfit was. Now, what I'm telling you is, I don't think you won't find many interviews from people who were infantry commanders in the Philippine Army. The Clemson graduate named Manny Lawton, who wrote a book called Some Survive. It's a good eyewitness account. He had a similar job to mine with another Philippine Army division. It goes far back than that. He and I drove in my car from Walport, South Carolina to San Francisco. We were good friends, and we had a great time going out there. He had peace time before we ever got on the transport and came over. So we get there, then we go north from there. Now say I think I was riding in a truck with maybe Coleman or somebody else. We weren't placed in command as yet. We were still advisors. In other words, they had their officers and they did their thing as best as we could tell them or try to get them to, well, for example, they had the Enfield rifle, which is an 1898 British rifle. And that sucker was about 8 pounds and a quarter. And way back to that first little pre-war assignment down at Captain Lucas Samara in the barracks there. And we had a retreat ceremony at night and take the flag down. Our battalion would line up out there with their helmets on and their rifles and bayonets. Bayonets get taller than the soldier. And that was some of the short, real short. Well, I'm trying to impress you with the strangeness of the situation. I was young, very young. I hadn't traveled any of the states. I had been to Louisiana to South Carolina, and I've been briefly to North Carolina. That's all. And here, this getting aboard a liner, coming over to the Philippines. Now, I thought that odd, but we had a cruiser escort, and the other ship that went on the same time as ours. This is before the war started, going from San Francisco to Manila. 23 days. We spent overnight in Hawaii, and we had a great time. And we danced at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. Everybody was in open arms. The thing that I really can't, still can't really assimilate, and the name of the old bar, people talk about Trader something. Trader Big. It's not the shops that they have now. Trader somebody, Trader Joe's, something like that. Let's go to Trader Joe's and find out where that is. See? Well, in Hawaii. What I'm trying to tell you is that that's the first time I'd ever seen shrimp, prawn, as things, as niblets on the lawn. You could pull that jar over it and then he does a little sucker, I thought, man, this is living. And then, of course, the ship had chartered, so it had the civilian staff, and the officers all ate in the dining room, and you had your own waiter that took care of everything this night, and you had this beautiful menu, choose 3 or 4 entrees. Well, anyway, that was a life before. I'm putting up a contrast here, and all of a sudden they got nothing. You're riding in the back of the truck, and you're wondering what's going to happen. No, we don't have any artillery battle. Still, we don't have any artillery. They don't have a lot of artillery. They move. They have foot troops. That's that primary thing. Just that's a certain amount of ingenuity that's soldiers had with regard to disappearing in the woods. You don't realize, they had to tell us shooting starts. I mean, oftentimes everything would be serene, and all of a sudden, whoop, 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 like that. And we say, oh, we'll see anybody. Get back down again. Now that actually happened the one time. I didn't put my head up anymore. Anyway, from there was a general retreat. Actually, it was called a withdrawal to the rear. That's a play on words. Because a retreat means that you've given up and you're going back. But withdrawal means it's planned and you're doing it to facilitate your next position. That's pretty good prose, I'm telling you. When we get back to before we get back there, Corbin and I see we still weren't coming out of individual units, we were just with them. And he and I were together. I rode down this drainage ditch and you have tanks that come into this little town up here, maybe 800,000 meters. And we were in the rice field and he had a Shell oil road map. Now, if you've ever seen one of those in the Philippines, what it has, there are very few roads, but they're on the main highways. And you have a one that comes right straight down the middle of Luzon, which is the main island there. That's where most of the fighting took place. On the westward side, southwestern part of Luzon is a peninsula. That's called the Bataan Peninsula. So to show you the state of things, Coleman flags, a lot of trucks moving, now all moving back and everything. We didn't have any, we just had some soldiers. And they just gathered together from the you could look at all the rice field and see these shiny helmets going back, and we realized they were targets. They were trying to pass the word to your men, put mud on your helmet. Oh, we go, oh wow. They put the mud on the helmet to see if you got a target and it's made a blinking light, and you can't ask for any better target than that. Well, the Japs knew it, we didn't. But I always tell that helmet story because I had no idea. Then I realized, hey, it's like a light now, and here I am. Well, anyway, it's back to this Shell Oil Company map. It was a conventional type road map, and it had a bunch of stuff down there like the islands, especially Cebu, Samal down to. But on the island of Luzon, shit like that, there was this main road coming down. Now remember the rice fields on each side. And of course they have a small cart paths and things down here and there, going over little barrios, little small villages and so forth. And but Coleman also had a compass, pocket compass. Every officer supposed to have one. I don't know why I didn't have one, but I never think I used it. We pulled that thing out, we oriented it back. And because this main road came down here, high up above, the water ball. intermediate elementary. Another, where we were doing Ricard, haircut, nice things. I stopped by, if you can get a driver, on the major said, in the middle there, taking the Filipino Army headquarters, into this building, they were all bustling around, starch jackets, American stuff, boots. Boy, that was the envy. Oh, son of a gun. The first time I saw combat boots, there was a paratroopers jumped up in Manchuria. 14 of them, after the surrender, they really sent these people out to keep us from being executed. So, but anyway, combat boots, man, I want those boots. I didn't have any good heavy shoes. Well, I actually had an old pair of Swedish ski shoes with great big iron templates around on them. I could hardly lift my legs up, didn't have any socks. And then I could hardly walk up in Manchuria. But that was jubilation. Man, we looked at those guys and, boy, I'm telling you, if you ever felt swelling in your heart, well, you just can't speak and you just look at it marveling. That's the way it was when we saw those guys when they came into the camp. They were detained, they got themselves captured, so to speak, but they jumped out of the plane, they drew the Philippine officer, and they said, take me to your leader. That's John Clark. All that 43 house forward. Gets out of the submarine, take me to your leader. Have you ever heard that thing? It's a military, a lot of my stuff has been around so long that they're throwing it out now. But that's the way it was. So, get back to the car. I have a company area, given a mission. We don't have a battalion staff, we have a battalion commander, but he just one man. Then we had a regimental staff, which was a corresponding Filipino Army soldiers, but we were in command, officers. They were always behind me somewhere, I never knew. People said, where were you? I said, I was between them and the enemy. I never knew I'd be on what you call OPLR. Something minor resistance. MLR, main minor resistance. You're up there by yourself, or you're dedicated soldiers look around, what do we do next? Right there. And then we talked. I had one show another name, it was Completely, and they all had things like Concepcion, and Spanish, I didn't know anything, Resurrection, but Ascension, all those things. I didn't call them by the names. I always had to go through the officers. They're like a mushroom. They didn't probably understand me. But Completely was my right-hand man. They've got DSC. I'll tell you about that next year. Now, I got to go back to the Don. That took on January the 1st, so to speak, until the middle of March at my CP. I was the only American there. First sergeant, I could talk to him. My executive officer had been there, taken out. And I was big, huge trees in the tropics, but they're like this, but they want something. If you've been to Hawaii, they have these roots, but they're like flanges that come out. And actually, people make a little rustling had me down in there. And see, nothing in the trajectory could hit it. And we didn't have to worry about air, although occasionally we got a bomb drop. But all they saw was the green canopy. I was down in there so long, 3 months, that when it took me out on the stretch, I had malaria. And when I hit the sun, I could not open my eyes. I've never looked at the sun. It's always shady, cool, and the heavy hat out wide. And this is it's not like park. There were patches of heavy bamboo and stuff. So longish. And at times we were pizza at night. Well, we had these, I say we, our soldiers. They had cans, they put pebbles in it, and they'd hang it on the wire. And then down the wire was like this. Layer, and then there are some other things. The way you put it in there is you build it out. Well, they got in there. They took bamboo, cut it out. They were sitting there. Machete, all of them had machete. They would sharpen these bamboo things like this, about that long. And they'd take it, have those glowing, a little bunch of coals there, and they would harden the end of the point. And then they'd stick those in the ground. Japs were coming in or trying to crawl through the wire. These guys moved at night a lot. Now, when we finally ended at this position, that position held the whole time. Now, there are things that go along with it. There were a couple of Japs that were caught in the wire, dead in the wire. And the smell is just horrendous, especially if it's hot and the air is heavy. I'm not trying to throw shit out there, but even trophies. I think that's the first time I've ever told, but I remember Filipino seeing a dead jet in the wire. That's what. Let's wait till they come to pull him out. I mean, Coleman, who had the company next to me, that was in his company area. He called me over around this way, go around and take a look at the thing. But I do remember that I never got used to the smell. And that's not remarkable, it's just the color. But that's it wasn't all springtime, nice blossoming flowers and so forth. Well, the thing is this, at night, if someone made a shot, the damn place down there was rough for about 20 seconds. Everybody's up shooting. Of course, as long as you hear them shooting, they weren't whistling over your head, you're all right. If you whistle over your head, good, get it out. That seemed to be deterrent as far as our defense was concerned. We did not have final protective lines, which means machine guns right about that high off the ground. It is long enough to, I don't know how much calculated, but you can get this thing to go 200 yards. That's plenty. Put this one over here, and this was on the light machine gun. We had two at one time. Two light machine guns, had 4 BARs, that's a grounding automatic rifle. And the rest of them are the Enfields. I don't have 45. Wait a minute. Okay. Well, it was surrendered, hospitalized back at Marabailey's Point. And but the thing about my eyes being shut, I remember four people carrying me across, up and down and around. I know I'd roll over there, drop it, and these are sensations. Then I get back and I open my eyes and faces and looking down at it. And I said, I remember, and they told me over and over. First thing I asked for was the chaplain. I want my hospital checked. Now, the Roman Catholic priest to go. But one might be brought up the way I was. That physical. Now I realize, you know, the folly of things like that. But again, I was out of my head. I wouldn't have been with it. And my friend Henry Lightner, who I mentioned in every speech that I give regarding him, as he quoted this morning, the reason I'm here because of them. And this is not one of those things like, oh, he saved my life. He saved my life, not once, twice, 3 times. That's what I like. I mean, human spirit to me became very, very apparent. I don't think I was the man either that Henry was. I won't get off on that because that's kind of emotional with me and so forth. It took me back. I remember riding in the back of my truck. I went away and I come back and I remember they told me I should have been talking about it. That's not the thing. I'll never get to when I say the hospital, it's an area down in the trees they have this swelling palm tree roof, palm tree, and then inside these bunks with just wooden shelves. But some had a mattress there, because they had hospital stuff. And so I remember picked me off the truck and put me down. A whole bunch of wounded. I was not wounded. And there was a Japanese guy right by. He had about 3 or 4 holes there. They had given him a cigarette. And I had no animosity to all my Japanese. He didn't fight me. I didn't fight him. That was it. I hadn't known any atrocities or anything like that. So, but I was glad to see it taken care of. But I remember this, when they put me on the table, this doctor, he's so thin now, a fly. And a little doctor, a little Jewish doctor. And I recognized him. I think he recognized me. We came over on the same ship. He said, everybody being aboard the ship for 23 days. Pretty well got everybody spotted. I saw him, and then he looked at me, and then I heard him. He started to get real. I don't know what was symptoms were going on in my head. Evidently, I had a morning fever. I also had chills like that. And he went, and I remember him saying, "Get this man to so and so, and so and so, so and so, and so and so." Well, I remember thinking he had to take it all of a sudden. Light in my face, and they were putting things in, had a little holes going down my nose, and I wasn't all that much awake when I thought it was around me. And they keep saying, "Swallow it, Captain, swallow it." Well, I didn't know what it was. I had no recognition. I mean, to me, somehow I just poured the water down my nose. Well, I didn't realize it was my spleen that was the affected organ, and that it was swollen so far that in another couple of days of eruption. That's what I was told. I have to slide it out here if that's true or not. Except later on when I was awake and rational and so forth, this doctor took my hand and said, "You feel that?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You're one of the few men in the world who ever felt his own spleen." It's in the back. But see, I weighed about 120 pounds then, I reckon. Maybe 118 or something. But I was wired into the bone. Anyway, that hospital experience, see, from there, I went on the launch. And surrender came, and they bombed that hospital while I was there. And I remember the plane, so you could hear that roar. Nurse said, if I said, get under your bunk, everybody, well, what that meant was this wooden thing, go under there. And there was some place they showed everybody where a piece of bomb fragment had cut into the pole. I mean, the thing was rolled up. And that's what we'll call it. Just the color there. Well, anyway, the surrender came, and that was up. I have always felt that there was a humiliation out of did not accept the MIPOW medal. I did not see how you could give a medal to somebody who had surrendered, and that's the way it was. But I didn't know then that that was the largest surrender in the history of the United States Army. That's still a stigma. And I'm very positive in my own mind that we could have done better. I just don't know where or how. I had optimism going for me. I was a little discouraged when I got a leaflet that was brought down to me in the jungle there, and a position for one of regimental headquarters. He had to send a message back and forth, and it was from General MacArthur. Line on it that troubled me was, may the halo of Jesus Christ be upon each and every one of you. He was leaving the Philippines. Well, I thought that kind of final to be. I had to give it to the troops. I mean, they were all Roman Catholic. So, well, that's just a little thing. I don't know anybody else that, of the many books I've read on the baton experience, I have learned this though. There are a collection of books that are what I call iBooks. This is where I was, what I'm telling you is I speech. I did this, I did that. I don't say anything about anybody else, what they did or saw. I have read books and I can put things that I'm astounded by. I didn't know that. So, and then there's some guy, I remember. There's a whole chapter called Hell Ships. And when they tried to move us, now we had to surrender March. So now, in December of 1944, we were moving 1,600 of us from Manila, from the Philippines, to somewhere in Japan. They put us aboard the whole of a ship called the Orinoco Maru. And I was one of the last ones that went then. They had 3 holes. And this is where the guy said, well, you on the Orinoco Maru? Yeah. Which hole were you in? I was in the aft hole. Well, you got the bomb. Yeah, we got the bomb. They didn't have the same experience in the chaos where people, I mean, going wild. And, I get back to this thing now. But when air is being cut off, there's no light. I mean, there's no lights down there. We came through the square over there. And we were down another deck between us and the top deck. And the last one came down a little ladder. And there was a guy, I thought, well, I don't call his name anymore because I'm not sure of it. But I always figured he was the one that said stuff like, now this, if you've ever been in a panic situation, which I hope you never have, where you'll do anything possible to keep your head up or to get air. You can do without water, you can do without food, and waste away. But you can't do without air. it affects you so much so. Well, there were 1,600 of us put into these 3 holes, but our hole, because due to sail and so forth, I heard this later on, they crammed everybody in there. There wasn't any room. You sat like this, there was a shelf above you, and they were all, each man sat between the legs of the man behind him. And you're down in, and you have a shelf right here, and there's another layer right up there. And out here, the last bit of them standing or crouched on this little space beneath the hole. Well, panic set in, and they lowered a bucket of food down on the road. But those guys, I can see them right now. I was on my back. I had passed out. And these guys, and the worst thing, I didn't know a single one who would. They just faced us to me in the little cubicle that we were in. They pulled me out, put my head the way I could get some air. And I'll have to remember that I did come to, but I liked it so much I decided I'd make like I was still I did that. But also, this guy, he got on that ladder, and the lips through the interpreter, the guy that he talked later on, which I'm happy, shouldn't say that. I'm happy they got him through. He was up, you could see his face up there looking down at him, and he sent word down that you are captives, you are not prisoners of war. You're in disgrace. You have surrendered unconditionally. You were tortured. You're not this. You're not that. Well, that's that old. We'd had a lot of that all through speech after speech. But this fellow, he got on the ladder and was coming up, and they'd already said they were going to drop a grenade in the hole if things didn't quiet down. Well, that quiet things down a little bit, but when that panic starts, it's uncontrollable. You feel like you want to yell also. Here I go to King Lear, Shakespeare, but I won't do that now. King Lear and I, old buddies, we've both been through it, getting to the stage of natural man. That's a figure of speech in a way. There's also a state of being where you become more animal than human. Well, this guy went to the ladder, and he said, I'm going up yelling up. Well, there were people screaming, hollering, it's like a mob, I mean, and you were breathing now. You didn't blow out, skip you. You breathed in like that. And so he got up halfway up, and I remember they shot him, and he came falling back down almost below. Well, the minute that, if you were that move with the presidents was on the plane got hijacked, and they were going around shooting at each other on the plane. So if we were to fire a rifle in here, it'd bust your eardrums, because you can't spread the vibration out and so forth. I did that in the classroom one time in public speaking. Excuse me, I can't feel it. So that quieted things down. And then here come the Navy planes. Naturally, the air corps wasn't around for us anyway. But all, of course, the door that those planes were going to return back to a carrier, and those people are all free. You dwell on that too much to drive you crazy. I'm getting all worked up here. I'm not fighting yet. I got hardly lift my arm, I was in horrible shape, but I was alive. And I felt like, look, you can breathe. I mean, I didn't keep saying that to myself, but every now and then I see, yeah, I'm going to hell. And then I didn't dare think of anything in the future. I didn't think of anything in the past. And right now, what will happen? Well, they were yelling out some people down at the quiet down in Plainsway attacking. We could hear those suckers coming down, and it's like a screaming. And all of a sudden they go, the ship was, they couldn't hit that ship. That worried me a lot, because I thought maybe they aren't trying to sink us. Maybe they know we're on it. But I remember some guy yelling out, sink this son of a bitch. Get it out of here. Get us out of here. Like that. That kind of settled me down a little bit. Yeah. But sure, my state of mind. I'm against the bulkhead, push back up against, not down my good position down there. My head up there like this. And I think, okay, they'll make a hole. I'm thought we were below the water, see. And like the car, it goes up, out, you wait till the water comes up, and that little air space and you can breathe. And then I thought, well, when you get hold of that hole, pull yourself out, shoot up. The ship's like that, see? Well, to me, that was a workable solution at that time. Until I jumped off the ship and looked back and found out we weren't underwater. We were above water. Well, of course, the bomb hit the rear hole right in the stern of the ship. And remember, these people are all down here like that. And there wasn't anything but bare feet. When I went out, I walked right across. Either had these ships. The Japs had transported their own soldiers. But they weren't packed in like that. There's no such thing as going to the bathroom. It never even occurred to me to go to the bathroom. I mean, Lord knows it's, that's why everybody had similar thoughts. I do remember seeing Henry lighting up. And I don't know why, but we didn't go through that hole and jump out. Nearly everyone was out of the hole except the dead, and some wounded, and some who had more or less asphyxiated. Couldn't handle it. Couldn't do it. Bodies all around. And of course, there's a certain hardness that you can come and do it to feeling. So later on, when I tell some of these stories, I didn't realize how hard that I was tossing on. Especially I'm talking about when I went to see the Henry Lightner's parents. His mother and father was dead. And I was telling the girl about some of the things that Henry told me our death marches at the time. He was up in our position. He went over this way. I was down here. I came around this way. And there were like hundreds at the time, segments all along the march. Everybody had a different experience. I was not with the extremely cool march later on in the death march. And there's a lot of bayoneting. One man was bayoneted right where I and he and another car stopped with us. We were stopped on the side of the road and outside. Definitely. So I put my hands down, and all of a sudden I was right in there late in the evening at dusk. And thud. And this guy right here said, "Hey man, hit that guy." Well, I just took off, pants coming up, and then I got in the column. I'm a pretty short guy. I was short. I said, "Look, I know they're going to come to get me." So I got in the car where the tall fellas were, and I squatted down. I didn't know it was so. They didn't know me. I just hid. I had this feeling they were going to come looking for me. And so that's the closest I came to get bayoneted. I shot something else in the bombs, something else. But overall, I think considering all things as a matter of faith, pretty heavy. I've always felt to believe, and I know my father was especially all during the Depression. Things were very tough. Of course, we didn't know it was a depression. Later on, they called it. But it was one heck of a time. And syrup and bread, something like we didn't have done that time. We burned only one light at a time. That type of thing. We made every Saturday. You know, and everybody else did too. So we did. I mean, go back that way, some things don't sound true because you can't see with that now. But that day and time for a small boy growing up with hopes. Well, everything has turned out. I don't want to say beautifully, that's beautiful. It turned out with a great deal of satisfaction. I'm not trying to wind down, but somewhere I need to stop. Now, why don't you do this? Is there any particular question you have about any particular episode or what I have told you? Normally this is a 2-hour session. I don't know about your time, but I'd like for you, I don't want you to go away with half-cocked idea about, well, he sure did do this, he sure, and then over here, over there, all the good stuff. What did I eat?
Colonel Skardon, one thing I wanted to ask you about, if you'd be okay with the answer. I know you taught speaking at the books and rates here. I'm interested to hear a little bit more about what you say with those university students about your books and rating.
I'd rather just give you a copy of the speech. It's only like an 8-minute speech, and emphasizing Henry like Minogue's story and what they did to keep me alive. But it centered around the fact that I had hidden my ring, and somebody went, "Where did you hide it?" Well, one time, or a lot of time, I remember, we didn't have short sleeve shirt, we had long sleeve. Well, the one I had, I rolled it up and I'd keep the ring in there. You'll never even think about it. And I can remember another time putting it in a sock down here because along the road, the Jap patrols and soldiers would be over there, they'd come up and a guy had a bedroll or something like that, which none of us had, but I just used that bag and all also he had to shave and stuff in there and all that kind of thing. Well, we had long, see, I had lost all of that prior to getting on the march. So, what you're asking?
It's about the ring.
Oh, I got it. Okay. So, when I got to Jim prison camp, I started deteriorating. And what I mean is, the bottom of my feet. Now, we worked no one except the field grade that were allowed to keep their shoes. We had no shoes. We had clogs. But we went out on the farm every day except Saturday afternoon and Sunday. You had to go out barefoot. So what you do? I got malaria was recurrent, and malaria, and then I developed very nerve disease from malnutrition, and your feet get very sensitive. Now, you don't have any shoes, you don't have any socks. You got a pair of ragged pants. You got a little shirt or a little jacket over your t-shirt. That's about it. Or they give us Japanese underwear. That's a piece of tape and a panel of cloth. With the tape around here, pull the panel of cloth and fold it into that piece of tape. That's what we wore primarily. And then anything else you had, put over that. Well, but when I started going down, I had an infection in my eye, and every morning up with this yellow discharge. I found out it was yellow. They told me. I didn't see. All I know is I couldn't open my eyes. I had diarrhea. I was squirting to the front. Well, I was at the work camp. Over here, they had what's called a hospital area where they put people like me and did the best they could for them. There were doctors over there and the medicine at one time. And sometimes they did have some medicine. But at this particular time, when I was affected, going to vet said, oh, he got it, you know. Well, they took care of me. And what happened was, they knew I had the ring. Henry knows their rings were going. And we had a little thing, and Henry said, man, I think it's time to trade the ring. I said, sure. I mean, I was going out and didn't think they'd come in, because at that time, I wanted to keep walking. They would carry me to a train and wash me off, bring me back and put me back on my pallet, which was a blanket. A little bunch of stuff I had in my head. And put me down there, and I just lie there. Well, got these pustules on the bottom of my feet, my eyes. Now all these are danger signals. Your body's not doing what it's supposed to do. And I figured that out later on. Boy, I was concerned. I said, I can remember I couldn't see very well. I remember trying to feed me the rice. Then I remember they talked to me on the bed, come on now, you can do this, you can do that. Well, Henry was in charge, Otis was in charge on the farm, which meant he was an American who understood enough Japanese so that when the Japanese guard was in charge of trouble, get Otis, he'd tell him where we were going, what we were going to do, and Otis would come over and said, as best as I can get it, we go into the okra patch, or we go into, we go carry water, or pick up one of those implements so that we go cut weeds or something of that nature. So, he put the word out to the guard that he would go away and trade for food. But nothing ever happens fast. There was one evening he came in to the farm, had a quart-sized chicken and a little can of potted meat. And I ended up that evening, I was looking to pick the chicken, gut it or whatever. And I really don't know what they, all I know was they were feeding me hot chicken soup, and hot chicken soup with rice, and rice and hot chicken soup. About 3 days. I always think a transformation, a physical transformation, took place. Well, not only that, but then they took the scan and they would put a little bit of on the rice, make a little rice ball. Best thing that I'll put in my mouth. Highly flavored, and my appetite came back. Malaria relented. Back in. Cleared up, appetite came back, and my eyes cleared up. But if I had, if they hadn't done that, I touched the ring, I would eventually have been put in what they call a zero ward over, and over there was the hospital area. That's not a different place, but part of the camp. Zero war, but to put people that couldn't do anything for. I reckon it's the term, what's that term for, when they wounded, like an atom bomb, you had they decimated, you had people that were, had people. Okay.
So Colonel Skardon, you said after the ring did it save your life, you were able to trade it in. You were prevented from going back to the zero ward. Can you tell me what it was like during the time of being held captive? What was able to bring you
troops over there, other than the scouts, were all new coming in there. They were building up and so forth. And a lot of these units were National Guard units. Now, there weren't a lot of them. There were some. And so, in prison camp, you associated with people that you liked, whom you knew, and so forth. Our little group of Henry, Otis, myself, in addition to that, was a fellow named Aaron Stanley from Virginia, who was a VMI graduate. He, like, come in from the farm, he'd get some water and wash a little bit. He had a spigot, he had a bucket. You want to take a shower, you put the bucket up there and turn it on. But anyway, he did everything collectively. For example, when we were paid at one time, for a short time, in prison camp, and we were paid in Japanese script, which is Japanese military money. It's a Filipino peso, Japanese government. Well, you get this, and it was not a large amount, but Otis was a terrific poker player. And I have never played poker, but as Henry said, what we'll do, it's all right with you, man, he said, we'll give out money to Otis, and he'll go there and he can get into one of these games after payday. It's always have a gambling stores. So we'd give out money to Otis, and he'd go around and poke game. Now, he was, sometimes he'd come back and he'd say, sorry, but I lost it. And then on occasion he'd come back and say, what do you want to do with it? So what you do with it is they had what they call the commissary. And he had these, this is in 1943. That's when we were our healthiest. That's when the Japs were winning the war. And we got rice 3 times a day. Sometimes we got mango beans. That's a Filipino little, like a BB shot, but it's smaller than a green pea. Mango beans, or you get maybe a little cube, caramel bean, and a little can of caramel gravy. See, when we got used to that, everybody put it all away. I mean, you got, we had a baseball team that played the Jap guards, and we had a long, I say we, I was primarily watching, because I had my feet, I had very my feet, and I didn't get around very well and so forth. I remember these guys getting up and putting up on the bar. And also, some of them would do that giant swing. Oh, I admire these guys terrifically. But then, usually someone says, well, I thought y'all were all little skeletons, all dried up. I said, that comes later. But what I want to also tell you that, at that time, in prison camp, we even got some letters from home. Now, they were generally 2 years old, and they'd come from the Red Cross. Every one of them had to be censored by a single censor. And he turned loose like at one time. None of this is continuous. Everything went from how to hide, back down here. Another hide, Red Cross package, everything's great there. Cigarettes, trade your cigarettes. I like the can of milk. 2 packs of cigarettes, I give it to the man, he'd give me a can of milk. Now, some people say, didn't you know you were taking help for food that would help him? I said, that never occurred to me at all. Well, that's one way of looking at it. It's this guy who would cigarette, something like that. He'd rather have the smoke than to eat. And yet to eat sort of thing would keep him alive. Now that's not a prevalent thing, because everybody more or less did it. And some of the, but you know, in spite of all that, I never knew any stealing. There really wasn't anything to steal. And but I do know on my birthday, which was, I always say 1943, I had a half of an avocado and a half of a boiled duck egg, and some avocado. And then we had fried rice and peanuts. We had got access to peanuts and some oil. They fried it up on a piece of tea. And so, and for dessert, had a piece of cake, and the cake was made. I used to know the ingredients, but anyway, some of it was medicinal. I mean, aspirin or something. I don't know. Some things that they use. They can cook to make yeast. But they, oh yeah, in the Red Cross. Foods were all, mashed up, but you didn't throw anything away. You ate everything. But I don't know what you were asking me. I'm sorry.
I was just asking you, kind of answer about how some of the things you did get through your experience. But one last thing I want to ask you about this work is, you had an amazing experience going through all that. What you had an amazing experience going through what you went through. What do you think is one of the main things you learned from that experience going forward?
Well, it's not. Couldn't put a priority on it. The main thing, one of the main things is that the loyalty, the friends, family, and that place remained loyal to the United States. And yet, but the thing is, you never give up, no matter. I've been to the no matter moment where I was should have died. I'm glad I didn't die. And I've always chastised myself, and I would even think that. Because it's not a matter of assuming something inside of you, like with the bombs I did, I'd say, you didn't get it, you're still alive. But that encourages you, and then those are little personal moments. Someone said, did you pray? Yeah, I prayed. I prayed a lot, mainly the nighttime or early in the morning. And I'll still say, in my prayers early in the morning. And I used to, we had these great big latrines, about 6 or 8 seats here, and 6 or 8 seats over one thing. Some of the most serene moments were sitting on the train because you were away from it. And the fence was right back over here. The guard tower was right up there. I could visualize this. You could sit there. I would rather someone put me in by much there. And I would come out there and just go. Not married. I had no responsibility. I didn't know anything about some people say Clemson Floyd that killed in an automobile accident here or there, and I always think about coming back to Christmas. Maybe just before graduation, feeling good. I said, it's somebody going to get good. And to me, that's useless slaughter. And I applied that also to some of the situations in Japanese guards with respect to the treatment of. We had shooting groups, 10 names, and the thing was that one man escaped, all the other 9 would be executed. Well, our group that we took, it was almost like swearing in blood. You don't, if you're going to escape, let me go with you. Well, nobody thought, I never thought about escape because there was no utility to that. Another thing is, you look at those guys, and you never entertained the thought of leaving them. You were lost. They're the ones going to stand by you, and that's another thing about disloyalty. When everything goes wrong, topsy-turvy, they don't leave you. They're still your friends. That's very heavy with me. I can talk about that freely with a great deal of conviction. In other words, what I'm saying is I'm deadly serious. When I try to explain my feelings and what I consider loyalty and so forth, you get anything that ever happens untoward, an episode which, of course, the question, that man or that person falls no longer in the loyal group. It's not a matter of a group, it's a matter of respect and so forth and so on. So, I know one thing I went through it very much in prison camp. Also, our conversations, we talked about what we drink, about what we go for, this, that, and the other. Otis had, before the war, he was in Manila. Well, the social life in Manila is fantastic. You can ride in a Clemson, which is a fully driven taxi, sign a piece of paper, put your name on it, give it to the driver, and it'll appear on your post exchange bill. American officer. Now that's how much respect they had for us. Well, Otis was up like the Central Dance Association. He was real good job. He was a good friend of Dan Robinson's, by the way. Red Hills. So he had known a girl in Manila, American girl, a girl in Manila. Her name was Yolanda, and I never knew her last name. I didn't want to know it because he was getting mail through the underground. The caravel drivers coming in with their carts would be like 10 or 12 of them all the time, and we could look to the wire up the road they'd come, and then they'd start unloading the stuff. Well, then Lieutenant Colonel, I think, we called him Jim Farley. He used to be a Postmaster General in the United States. So our Jim Farley, if you saw him walk along, he had mail. But Otis got a letter from Yolanda, and in it, wrapped in a wax paper, was a little lace handkerchief with a pin in it, doused in her perfume. And so 1943. So the moon down there is big as the moonlight. We could play bridge at night, see. I mean, we just had light. We didn't have lights like the place. So, someone would say, Bruce, could you give us a little bit of so forth. And this got the old song. And then we hadn't even seen the American book. Seen some native people there. And what is it? Describe, or he had described it. And then sometimes he would say, well, it's nice to be called good guys or something like that. He didn't pull it out. And he would break it around. And he could look at that little nice thing too. And then he rolled it on carefully again. I don't know where to put it, but I wrote a little more called The Old Emperor's Speech. It's a sonnet. He has 14 lines. Would that I might touch the hand and clasp this little place, or see though how she's herself the face, which radiates a sense of distant land. Surely some Homeric siren, born of Aurora, or some Elysian field, else Diana, enticing and rare, or an Egyptian queen, the spangled breast and swinging hips. Would that I in some bacchanalian revel might meet a maid who stirred me so, whose perfume and lace set all but gold, and leave me swooning and unsettled. So our best comment of erotic doggerel. Yes, next to couples, they have a deposition that they took from me when I was in Clemson General Hospital. And it has dates, and it might spell some things out, but you're welcome to that. When we got to Clemson General, coming home on the Navy transport, they gave us over about a 10-day period about as thorough exam as I've ever had in my life. The whole time I ever posed naked. They had this little room with white sheets hanging, and had a camera back here or something to film. And he'd say, sir, we didn't have a pair of feet on the floor. When you step on those feet over there, and they gave you a little card. You held the card like this. All of it, but those things must have been grotesque, because my eyes, my mother really found them all dark under here, and I didn't think they were dark. And my hair was kind of bristly. I had a haircut on, but it didn't grow back. Soft. It still was kind of stiff. But that, and remember the psychiatric man, the only time I've ever talked to a psychiatrist, asked for it, had to do it. And so I always presented, have you ever seen a psychiatrist? Well, I've seen them, I always wave to them. So anyway. Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you all. You're a good audience.